Seeing Bonnie Lockhart on Days of Our Lives might be a little bit confusing, given that the character is played by Judy Evans, who also played Adrienne on the NBC soap. Of course, that wasn't always the case. The character was introduced on Days in 2000 and was played by Robin Riker and Kathy Connell before Evans took over in 2003. Bonnie was introduced as a single mother who was willing to scheme and lie in order to get what she wants, just so long as she doesn't have to put in too much effort. She was always jealous of the wealthier families in Salem, like the Bradys, Hortons, and the Maris. So she was thrilled when she finally got Mickey Horton to propose to her. Bonnie became Mrs. Horton in 2004. Paul Skipper/JPI, fearing he'd never follow through, Bonnie rushed Mickey to the altar, but just after he put a ring on it, his late wife, Maggie Horton, showed up very much alive as the current Mrs. Horton. Bonnie was confident in their marriage, but Mickey eventually dumped her for his true love, Maggie. After her daughter, Mimi Lockhart, revealed she was pregnant, Bonnie urged her to get an abortion, fearing having a baby at that age would ruin her daughter's young life as it had her own. But Bonnie was devastated when Mimi later suffered an infection that rendered her infertile. Do as I say, Mimi. Definitely not as I do. Paul Skipper/JPStudios.com. Having been dumped by Mickey, Bonnie pursued a newly single Roman Brady, but her life took a shocking turn when a skeleton was discovered and she was frantic to keep the corpse's identity a secret. It was later revealed that the body belonged to her first husband, David, whom Mimi had accidentally killed during a fight. Bonnie convinced Mimi to let her take the blame for the murder and went to prison in 2007, which was the last Salem saw of her until 2017. As part of Angelica Devereaux's revenge scheme, Hattie Adams and Bonnie both returned to Salem to take over Marlena and Adrienne Kyriakis' lives. While Marlena was able to escape the mental hospital and put an end to Hattie's deception relatively quickly, Adrienne lingered in prison while Bonnie destroyed her life by breaking up with Lucas Horton, reuniting with Justin Kyriakis, and then throwing him aside to try and blackmail Victor Kyriakis into marriage. Bonnie had quite the surprise for Lucas. XJJohnson/JPStudios.com. Bonnie's big plans fell apart, naturally, and she disappeared for months before Steve Johnson tracked her down and brought her back to Salem to face justice. But the schemer had one more ace up her sleeve. She revealed to Lucas that when he got drunk and slept with her, believing her to be Adrienne, she got pregnant and gave birth to his daughter. Using the baby as leverage, Bonnie got Lucas to help get her out of jail on early release. But the unfortunate truth was that the baby really belonged to her daughter, Mimi, and when the jig was up, Bonnie reluctantly turned herself in and returned to prison. In July 2020, Bonnie stunned Justin when she showed up in the cemetery as he was visiting Adrienne's grave and he thought she was his late wife. She apologized but revealed her makeover was her publicist's idea and she was back in Salem hoping to make things right with Lucas. She also approached Justin to ask him to represent her in a contract dispute with her publisher. Justin saw a whole new side of Bonnie. XJJohnson/JPStudios.com. When Justin secured a victory for her in court, Bonnie thanked him with a kiss, but he pushed her away. To try and make things right, Bonnie took the money she got in the settlement and invested it in Sonny's new business instead, and it looks as though Bonnie's attempts to prove she's changed have been working as she and Justin have slowly been growing closer, and at Christmas time, he kissed her. Bonnie has continued trying to do the right thing, like when she spotted Lanny and Eli's twins in the park and was able to give a description of the woman who'd abducted them to the cops. Still, Maggie wasn't impressed with the new leaf she was trying to turn over, and Steve also worried his pal was getting in over his head. Bonnie eventually decided to propose to Justin, but he turned her down, so he could pop the question himself. Stay tuned to see what Bonnie does next. Adblock